Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Man here, and if you've been on the information superhighway lately, you would have noticed that everyone is going absolutely crazy about Pokemon again. And that's basically because Nintendo have recently announced that they will soon be releasing on the Nintendo Switch Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, which are basically two games which are reimaginings of the old Pokemon Yellow game for the original Game Boy. Now personally, from what I've seen of these two games so far, at least from the ads, is that they do not necessarily look like games which so much interest me as much as other iterations of Pokemon have done in the past. And there's quite a number of reasons as to why. First and foremost, for example, in this upcoming game, they've only got 151 Pokemon, which is in my opinion a huge step back for the franchise in terms of progression than we've got from previous entries. Like, didn't we have over 800 Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Moon quite recently? So that's a huge meta game within a game where you can spend catching them all, whereas in this new game that's coming up it must be really small in comparison if it's got such a limited amount of critters to collect. Now, I can infer a number of reasons as to why Nintendo have chosen to do this. And first and foremost is basically the presumption I keep hearing is in regards to basically the Generation 1 fans of Pokemon. So basically people who grew up with just the first 151 Pokemon. So I often see those people on Twitter going on about, no, we don't need more than 151 Pokemon because past that Nintendo have just run out of ideas, so we can't have more than that because there's just no more ideas left to come up with new Pokemon, which quite frankly I find ridiculous considering there's 7.8 million different species of animals on Earth and less than 800 Pokemon, so of course they can come up with more Pokemon, so that's ludicrous, don't you think, Luke?
No, most of them are spiders.
What, most of the species on Earth are spiders?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Let's go, Pokemon, let's go spiders.
Yes, why not? We have Pokemon Let's Go Spiders. We could have a whole game where you've got a whole generation of spiders and
fish.
Or fish. So Pokemon Let's Go Fish, Pokemon Let's Go Spiders. There we go. Two ideas for you, Nintendo. Just like that. So, with regards to these 151 Pokemon being liked by the people apparently who grew up with it in the first place, I don't really understand what that's all about because I was an absolute Pokemaniac back in the day. In fact, I loved the franchise so much that I would import the games from America months and months and months before they even come out in Europe. So I would have completed most of the games before most people have even played them in my region. And one of the most exciting things during Generation 1 was looking to the future and what Pokemon we would possibly get. Like, I remember I used to scour the internet back then looking at the various Japanese Pokemon which was set to feature in Pokemon Gold and Silver. It was an exciting time trying to work out what these Pokemon exactly did, what their types were, and trying to guess what their names were going to be. In fact, I was so hardcore that I even went to the effort of downloading the ROM of the Japanese version of Pokemon Gold and playing the game far before there was even a Western translation of the game. So I was a proper Gen 1 fan who was excited for the future. So all I can infer, all of these people who apparently were big fans in Generation 1 who only want 151 Pokemon, were those the more casual fans of the series who never played it enough to get bored of the 150? Because that's the main problem for me about those Pokemon. They've been in every game up until now, so by now I'm bored as playing as those Pokemon and I want to play as others. Like, I wouldn't be so upset, for example, if you had 150 Pokemon in it, but they were different ones from the original 150, because then at least it's a bit of variation. Like, we all already know exactly what those first Pokemon do, and they're just really boring to play as these days. Like, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, don't you think?
No.
Why not? There's loads of crappy looking Pokemon in the originals and people seem to overlook it due to nostalgia, I would gather. Like, look at Bellsprout and Muck and Grimer and Voltorb, Electro and Magnemite. Those things are abominations.
You can't compare those to stuff like Garbodor and Chandelure.
But why not? What's wrong with Garbodor and Chandelure? They're no worse than those other ones, are they?
Yeah, they're a lot worse.
Why are they worse?
Just ridiculous inanimate objects that do nothing. Like, you couldn't have evolved a chandelier to the point when chandeliers existed for them to be based off of.
No, you're probably wrong here. I would gather in the Pokemon universe, chandeliers were based on chandelures, not the other way round. That's where they would have got the design. What's that? You see, there's logic. Stupid logic, but it works, doesn't it?
It does.
It does indeed. So yes, the modern Pokemon are no worse than the Pokemon we had back in the day. Did that make sense? I'm not sure if it did, but all I'm saying is people have got nostalgia goggles on when it comes to the original 150 Pokemon. Those Pokemon are not superior to any other Pokemon what are in existence, in my opinion, except for maybe the one that looks like an ice cream. We're on the section for that. No one wants ice cream Pokemon. But yes, moving away from the 150, the other thing I don't like about this upcoming Pokemon game is its scary resemblance to Pokemon Go. Like, how horrible was that game? It was one of those horrible apps, wasn't it? One of those app games. One of those games that was so bad that they gave it away for free. It wasn't even for sale. People used to just download it for free on their phone. So most people bloody playing the game never even had Nintendo consoles at home. They were just people who were just having a quick go on their phone. Ooh, nostalgia. Ooh, original 150. So, not big fans of the franchise. They were just doing it for nostalgia. So, is this new Pokemon game on the Switch just a big nostalgia pop, rather than trying to go for an in-depth experience? Because that's what it looks like it is to me. It looks like a corporate nostalgia cash-in, rather than trying to deliver a thorough experience. And Pokemon Go is the very definition of that. Like, proper gamers, when I say proper gamers, that does sound a little bit pedantic and over the top, but for me anyway, it wasn't for me. It didn't have any depth to it whatsoever. It just seemed completely pointless and a big waste of time. You didn't do anything. You just waited for things to pop up on your screen and then flick it. That's all you did in the game. There was no strategy like with the proper Pokemon games, was there? It was pointless. And that brings me on to another point as well. The battle system is the same. Well, there's no battle system when you're catching Pokemon in this new game. You're just, once again, you're throwing a ball. So you're going around with this stupid peripheral pretending to throw. So a ball you can't throw, which is bullcrap, obviously. So I don't like it for that. And then it looks like the normal battles are still in the game as they were, which is nice. But at this point, like I said, I've played enough of the original games to not be in a rush to revisit. I'd like a new entry, and thankfully it looks like in 2019 Nintendo will be delivering that. My only fear now is that this game is going to do so well, because it looks like they're trying to appeal to the lowest common denominators in gaming, and most people in society are the lowest common denominator, that this game's actually probably going to sell quite well. And then the scary thing is, will the impact of this game then impact on the next mainline installment in the franchise? So if we get another Pokemon game, 1000 Pokemon, are we suddenly going to have this stupid ball in their hands with no battles and just be throwing, pretending to throw like that rather than having intuitive battles? Who knows? Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, that's been my little rant about the upcoming Pokemon game. I hope all of you at home aren't as disenfranchised with the franchise as I am with regards to the upcoming release of this game. Let me know in the comment section what you think of Gen 1ers. Are you a Gen 1er? And how do you feel about the original 150 Pokemon in regards to the others? Because personally I think it's rather snobbish to look down on the additional 650. Anyway, cheerio!